What's up? We're Blackstorm Productions. I'm Alex Backstrom. This is Brian Caputo. This is Nick Audi. This is Brett Willett. And we're the idiots who wrote Fantasy Football Murder Mystery Party.
We are trying to build up our YouTube channel, so if you could like and subscribe below, that would be super, super helpful. And we are just sitting around having a few drinks, talking about how the sausage is made. Enjoy.
I'm going to start with a question from Mike. Brad, which episode was the hardest to make?
Oh, God. I mean, for me personally, just because it was the one that I was in the most, I think that pilot, because that fire scene was so hard to, A, keep a straight face, like, through anything that came out of Jake's mouth.
I've tried to give sperm before, okay? They just let anybody submit. I need you to be my dad.
It was impossible to do that, and we'd already had such a long day. It was so late, like, you know, energy was dying, like, trying to keep everybody up and stay up, and, like, it proved to be a little challenging, but overall, it was a fun night.
Yeah, the first day of shooting was mainly just the first episode.
Yep.
So that was, like, when we hit all of our roadblocks, all of our, like, stumbles, like, trying to figure out audio, trying to, like, how are we going to shoot this thing? Let's get these all first-time actors together on a set they've never been before, and we have to, like, it was just like...
It's all travel upstate.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to shoot 25 pages.
Yeah. It was kind of just, like, hit the ground running and figure it out as we went. And like you said, like, our last scene was the fire scene, which ended up being, like, how many pages? Like, 6 pages? Like, it was, like, a long scene.
It was, like, 10 pages, something like that. It was, like, half the episode.
Yeah. And it was like 8 hours into the day, maybe 9 hours into the day, and like now it's time to start shooting it. And everyone's exhausted. I'm exhausted. Like my brain's fried already.
Dude, the worst part was the bugs. I just kept getting I was like, dude, I had a sweatshirt on, full hood, like shooting, and like I could feel the mosquitoes just eating me through.
Yeah,
like
you and your brother were getting.
You guys got that sweet blood.
Yeah,
there's got to be something like that.
They love us.
I remember being on camera, and I just see out of the corner of my eye, Brian like gets up and he's like throws his camera off. And he's like, throw it, but he's like throws it away. He's just like, and I'm like, dude, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with your shot? And he's just like, these bugs. It's not bugging me. And we have like that one blooper shot of your brother who just gets like smacked right in there.
Yeah.
Constantly, you guys though. But
it's funny.
That and the other thing we did was that chest. We found that chest at your cabin, and we're like, oh, this is sweet to build for our fire pit. Well, we only have one take of this fire pit, and so we're like, all right, we're going to start with this epic shot transitioning from, like, the burning of the joint in the match to this fire pit, and we had, like, 2 takes of it, essentially.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the thing. Thank God we brought in Tony, who, like, monitored our fire for us. He was like, how long you want it to burn, guys? I don't know, an hour? Nope. You know?
That's so true.
You're going to get about 20 minutes, okay? So the first 10 minutes will be like, it'll just get this high. And then about, 6 to 8 minutes in, maybe 12, depending on how well it burns. It's going to burn up, like the 10, 15 feet. So, it's going to be huge.
And then we're like, then what, Tony? And he's like, then it's gone.
We got more lines over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember as soon as we wrote that scene, I was like, Brian, we need to find someone who's just going to look at the fire. Like, we're going to look at these cameras and these actors are going to be acting. Because I remember after the first take, every single actor was like, this is too hot, I got to move back. I was like, I did not know how hot this, like, intense this was going. And Brian was the same way.
All right, next question. Nick, how did all the fake blood taste in your mouth?
It actually didn't have that much of a taste to it. I expected from like watching Tropic Thunder, it was gonna be like, ooh, corn syrup. It's gonna be like sweet, but it didn't really taste like anything. The weirdest part about it was like I'm tied to a chair, and Melissa's coming over and just pouring blood into my mouth. While I'm like, yes.
I think it's only
It could be. I gotcha. You're welcome, bud. Thank you. I love you.
It was bizarre, but so much fun to do. I would do that again in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
it was just
no problem.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever ready for, even after I'd watched you do it a couple times, whenever the blood got reset, I was never ready for how big of a clump was just going to fall out of your mouth
oh my God,
at any given time.
There was a lot of liquid in your mouth. You don't even know anything's in there. It's like hidden. At any time, it just be like coming out.
It's in the bloopers, right, where like the whole chunk just falls right out of you. Yeah, like
I wanted to hold on that shot longer, but like Sophia or Jillian was
was
laughing. She couldn't hold it together.
hysterically.
Hey, you told me you were like, instead of like spitting it out first this time, just say your line.
Yeah.
Say your line with the
Yeah.
blood in your mouth, and it just like it poured over me perfectly.
Well, and that's also a little bit of a finicky business too, just with the continuity and stuff like that, with how many takes that we actually get.
Yeah.
Like using this one shirt that he's incessantly bleeding all over, you know, how many do you actually get before you can tell from cut to cut that like it's been covered in blood? So,
Which leads us to kind of the continuity issue of our series, where it's all over the place in many scenarios, like Jillian's wardrobe.
Yeah,
Sophia.
Sophia with her.
Who goes from like wearing no jacket to now all of a sudden now she's wearing a jacket during the day to sunglasses to no sunglasses, but like it doesn't matter. Right?
You barely tell.
Right? Like
No,
we could have
really.
had someone there like focusing on that, but like nobody cares, nobody notices.
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
For what we're doing, you know what I mean, trying to get something off the ground and just you know that's one of those things that you're not going to prioritize.
Exactly.
You know?
It's the story that matters.
As
I mean,
long
that's
as the
the whole-
story's there, people will buy it. You know what I mean? This isn't Star Wars where people are going to be like, the stormtrooper held his head when he got thrown into the wall. You know? Like,
Brad, we noticed your method playing Dawson was to actually get everyone to want to kill you in real life. Can you elaborate on that process?
I mean, look, you don't get one of these without making a few enemies, okay? No, that just ended up being a fun thing. That I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe you guys did want to kill me. I don't know.
Yeah, real gun on set.
Easy Baldwin.
Say cheers, I'll drink that.
So what was the hardest challenge of filming Fantasy Football Murder Mystery? This is Mr. Mystery Party. This came from Josh. What was the hardest challenge, Brad?
Oh.
I have a couple actually, like just personal ones. For me, I think it was playing a dead body when people are spitting all over me and I'm trying to act dead. Trying not to make a straight face, but like they're puking. They've all got pea soup in their mouth. And I'm just getting
right at
peppered.
Nick. You're like really directing this at Nick. Like he was the
I
one
was
who-
aiming for Brad.
Yeah, no, I think you was.
I had the chunky chicken noodle, and I was like, I'm gonna get to this.
Oh,
Brad, for
definitely. I tasted it.
Yeah.
It was cold.
To your guys' credit, there was a wide variety of options for vomit. Like, we had,
Yeah, we needed
Gatorade
vegan
for the
options.
Vegetarians. There was chunky chicken noodle, pea soup.
Yeah.
Like so much going on.
Whatever you
It was
wanted to
awesome.
throw up, we had it for
Yeah.
you. Just so
Yeah.
you could get it on Brad.
Yes. That was one of the strangest experiences of my life. And then, you know, just also like it's in the bloopers, like being in a scene, but also like trying to work on some of the other stuff, like getting catering and stuff there and like being on two lines at the same time, you know, trying to be taking care of that stuff, but then also going, oh yeah, I have to be this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the character.
It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
flip the switch real quick.
Yeah, Brad was really our local producer, like helping us like bring the food in and everything with that. And a lot of times he was in the scenes while getting phone calls, and they're like, "Where is this food going?"
Hey, where are we going? Hey, what do they want? Hey, we're gonna be late. Like,
Like that one time you brought in breakfast, right? And it came just a little late.
just a little late. Yeah, I was flying. I got pulled over on my way to set. He was like running late. I went over there to try and like, hey, what can we do to get this out as soon as possible? And then as soon as it was, flying. And yeah, they pulled me over. But they were pretty nice about it. They were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm shooting a movie. They're like, you're what?
I have catering. I gotta go.
I'm just glad it wasn't the day before, because the day before I had all that fake blood on my face. I got pulled over to a 90 covered in... I'm shooting a movie! I nicked myself shaving.
Oh, man.
That's
The food was good though. The food was great. Love the food. Shout out to the food guys. The food
Yeah.
boys.
Okay.
Tyler
Shout
and
out.
Tony.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was fire.
Thank you.
I feel like you could easily just say the hardest challenge was literally just audio. Like the
Yeah.
fact that there wasn't an audio guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Sound speeds. I'm running to get the cameras. Sound speeds.
That's me. I can get.
No, I'm good.
So I know exactly where my shot is.
There was
hire
no
an
audio
audio
guy.
engineer. Hire an audio
So
engineer.
in the bloopers, you'll see it sometimes. There's literally like a Cardellini, and it's rigged to our microphone, and it's just pointing to the scene.
In the direction.
It's like, just pick up something, please. We hope it's good. And also, no one's monitoring it most of the time. So
Most of the time.
hopefully
Veno,
it's
you're
good.
not in that scene, check it out.
Yeah,
oh no, Veno,
yeah.
you're in the scene, where's Andrew? Like,
That's so true.
Somebody's got to put the headphones on and just
true.
make
listen,
sure we're
yeah,
going.
just- yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Because there were times when like a button was accidentally pressed and like no audio was recorded, and it's like, all right, well that's just a dead take. Like we
Yeah,
just
we
literally
lost
cannot
the
use
take.
this.
realistically, most everybody's IMDb could say whatever they did /sound.
Yeah, so true. Everyone was holding it.
I think another one was like actually that bathroom scene with Brad and Andrew. I think like shooting that, like figuring out, we were like trying to figure out, it's like, oh well, how do we shoot this? We've been shooting everything else with 2 cameras. It's like, how do we continue to shoot this with 2 cameras? Well, what if we try to like lean on their acting a little more and keep this like a 1 camera take? You know what I mean? And I think that like
Yeah, because that
gives you
bathroom
guys
is,
a lot of
I
credit.
mean, even
Like,
the
that
smartest thing we did was, there's no room for the camera in here. Let's pop that window and we'll just shoot through the window.
No,
and
yeah.
we blacked out behind me, and then it was as if I was in the room. You'd have no idea.
Yeah, it
there
looks
was
like
not a lot of space to move in there.
Yeah.
It was like a Manhattan studio. Like,
It's in the Manhattan studio, exactly.
But we also, Brad told us that there was a bathroom. This is your cabin, your family's cabin. We were like, yeah, there's a bathroom, and then we show
Asterisks.
up and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
oh yeah, because all the water's gravity fed up there. Like this place is off the grid, you know.
Yeah.
The water's gravity fed from a stream, so like we're trying to put the water things together. The toilet's always running in order to have the
At one
water
point, the fucking
dropping
pipe
in there.
burst, and it was like,
yeah.
move all the camera equipment.
yeah, our special effects makeup artist was like, "There's water pouring down over there," and we just like the gravity fed water just coming like a foot next to our camera gear. Brad, tell me about the cabin that we shot in and what it meant to you, and also why Ben Stiller couldn't shoot there.
A little drama.
Yeah. Well, we don't necessarily need to get into the why, but anyway, that cabin, it's a very interesting spot. That's my family's cabin, you know, growing up. It's me and my uncles own it. It's been a hunting cabin that they've used for many years, and what happened there is during the Dannemora prison escape, Richard Matt spent the last night of his life in that cabin after he had been, you know, he had escaped. He'd been in the Adirondacks for, I think it's like 28 days or something. And he spent his last night there, and my cousin found, like, booze spilled the next day, and they called it in, and, yeah, they went up into the woods back there, and he had stolen a gun prior to being there, fired it at a camper, and then, yeah, they finally got him back there. So when the Escape of Dannemora series, directed by Ben Stiller, came to town, which was something that I worked on, they were interested in shooting there. And he went and he scouted it out and everything, but, you know, for one reason or another, it didn't necessarily work out. Stiller couldn't get it.
Stiller couldn't get it, but BSP could.
But BSP could. BSP, we're better than Ben Stiller.
He said it.
Can we ut that? I'd like to maintain being hireable. I love you, Ben. You were a wonderful boss.
This sounds fun, right?
Yeah.
This one's from Jake. Did you have any alternate ideas for who the killer would be, or maybe the ending?
Oh, interesting.
Well, my first draft was literally Ethan goes when every episode kills someone else, and it was more of like
It was a slasher.
It was a slasher for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
It got a little difficult to justify why Ethan was killing every single one of his so-called friends.
Yeah.
But
What about you guys? Did you guys have any ideas of who would be a killer in this moment? Did I come to you with? What did I come to you guys with?
When you came to us with the script, you had a pretty clear like layout for, I think, the sequence of events. Like I think you more or less came to us with a concrete like start, and you know, here's who it is. How do we make that fit? You know, where is the character here? Where are the characters with these? How do they come together? And you know, you had the I think the layout like right until the end.
well, that's what we
for the
worked
most
on.
part.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what we kind of worked
Like
on with
from there, you had the outline, and you came to us with the outline, and then from there, it was just about expanding that and making a world out of
the characters and
that
everything.
vision that you had brought to us.
Yeah, that was fun. The BSP writers room was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
really
it was.
enjoyed that.
It was good.
It was a lot
You
of
guys
fun.
brought a lot to the
Yeah.
table. Like,
Yeah.
Nick, especially with like.
A lot of jokes
Act-
came from Nick.
Yeah.
I loved that was the best part for me writing the jokes because I'm not as into the fantasy football aspect, so
Right.
I wanted to give more on like the joke side, the character development stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm a nerd, but I'm not
Yeah.
a sports nerd.
Well, that's
a total jock when it comes to sports.
Well,
I got all the stats. Like, no, don't talk to me about that. I
well,
can't do it.
gambling, on the other hand.
Gambling,
that's-
that's why playing Giovanni was so easy for me.
Yeah.
Voice in my
Well,
heart.
you also wrote episode 4.
Yeah.
I did the first draft of
Yeah.
episode 4, which had like a very interesting aspect that like we ultimately decided to cut it out, but I thought it was very fun. Whereas like
Well, we used parts of it for
we
sure.
used parts of it, yeah. But that was a fun episode to write.
What was the ideas
too.
you brought in for that one?
So I wanted to have Ethan have drugged like either
Oh,
like coffee
right.
or
Yep.
like
Yes.
beer, so that like
the end.
everybody's like tripping
Right.
towards the end of that episode. So it like kind of adds like another layer of like everybody's fucked up. We could have had fun shooting everybody on drugs, like
Right.
acting
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that would have
yeah,
been a lot
that's
of
true.
fun. Because my mind is like I just want to have the most fun as possible and do like, fuck the story, fuck all this. Like, let's have the most fun possible.
Let's shoot some trippy
And-
scenes.
Oh, they're letting me write whatever I want. I'm in.
I'm taking it. I'm
the Happy
taking it, I'm
Madison
running with it.
School of Filmmaking. How do we have a good time?
Just have a great time with it. But yeah, it was fun. But the other thing with on the alternate ending stuff, even though like we had a pretty straightforward idea of like it being Ethan, like it was fun to hear all the fan theories as the episodes came
Yeah,
out of like
for
who
sure.
people thought it was going to be, because every character people thought had a little something to them.
Oh, yeah.
really
People
sure
thought it was
about
Piper
Weston.
for a lot of
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Well, and a lot of that I think helps is that we had like long discussions in the writer's room about, things like that. That was, for me, that was the benefit of a writer's room, as, like Alex, we've tried to write things like on our own or
Yeah.
like maybe just you and I together. And when you actually have a collective, especially when it comes to like the jokes and stuff like that, we're all friends, like we hang out in real life. It's not all for the cameras. But like being able to just like riff and, you know,
it's so true.
fuck
And like
around.
this series, like we made for ourselves. Like these are our jokes that we make to each other,
Yeah.
and it's just like this is what we thought would be hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mind
Like
you,
that's
Nick mentioned it. They're the only two who have any idea what football is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're on the same page. Going into it.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Do you want to play the commissioner?" And I was like, "I don't know. Can you sound out names phonetically for me? Like, I don't know who anybody is."
well, that's what I mean. Like it is
Is
called
Babe
the
Ruth, like-
fantasy football murder mystery party, but like the fantasy football was just the vehicle to bring all of these characters together.
For sure, yeah.
And we just wanted like to bring like a vast group of characters and kind of put them in a scenario where not a lot of people are in, like a
Yeah.
getaway draft party weekend where sometimes we get too drunk at draft weekend.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
bud.
we regret a lot of things.
It's depth. It's real. You remember we had gone into the Joanne Fabrics to get something for the shoot, and the woman at the Joanne Fabrics asked us what we were doing, and we told her, and she was like, "My son's on his way down for a draft weekend," Like it, as much as it may seem specific, I feel like we made it broad,
vast.
but it's an experience that a lot of people do have.
It's very true. Let's talk about casting. We wanted to make this series for as little
$0.
money as possible.
$0.
This is all as literally as out of our pocket, so we're trying to make it as cheap as possible.
We are trying to start a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Please,
So-
please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe right
Thank
now
you.
so we can continue making narrative content like this and have fun making movies and behind the scenes and roundtables and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, Nick is an old high school friend. He's not an actor. Brad is a college friend. Well, he's kind of an actor. Now, we're making him an actor.
I've dabbled.
So anyway.
I got enough for a reel now, so.
Let's talk about the rest of our cast. Piper, that's your girlfriend.
Yep. Has done one thing when she was 9 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Never acted. Andrew,
Andrew.
which is my brother. Never acted.
Which Andrew's my favorite of all of them, honestly, because he
We're
didn't
right
read
here.
the script. He didn't finish the script. He just showed up.
He just showed up.
We're like showed up for a 4-day shoot, and he read like 2 episodes. He literally was like, "Wait, who kills him? Who kills Dawson?" Like he was like
on
trying
like
to
day
figure it
2,
out.
he was
Yeah.
like, wait, so who did it?
And he had to like take a break and like go.
You
and
should
read
probably
the rest of
read
the
it. And he's like, "Fuck!"
script. So this dude playing Lewis, who was like our just like most outrageous, like our Dennis Reynolds kind of character.
Yeah,
He's just
definitely,
like,
dude.
he's our lust character, and it was just like
That's a good point. That's a good
he
point.
came in and just trusted us, and it was like the coolest part of it, and he
That's-
killed it. He
Honestly,
went all in and killed it.
If you really think about it, he might be like more of an actor than all of us, because that's method to not know who did it in the end. That is super method.
Yeah. He actually thought that I did it for a second.
He's like,
it
it's
was
definitely
Giovanni.
Gio.
Yeah,
He's definitely
eat
Gio.
your heart
That
out.
is
Meryl
the
Streep.
money.
Yeah, where is it? Huh?
It's right here. It's also fake. I just want to let you know, Andrew. Just relax. Oh man, Jillian, she's modeling, but does not act.
But hold on a second. What day did we shoot?
So August 10th we started shooting.
August 10th was the shoot day. When was your birthday dinner?
The weekend before that.
Yeah, that's when we casted Jillian to be Sophia.
Yeah, that's
Week
awesome.
before.
The week before we had,
Wow.
we
Like-
still
like-
did not
like,
have
literally like maybe 7 days.
Yeah.
Dang.
We're literally like at a dinner and she's like, yeah, I'd do that. We're like, oh my god, yes!
Yes, we're in. We're going.
As I literally I converted Sophia's character to be a male so we can try and get Andrew to play him.
Andrew, but then
right,
somebody
yeah.
else fell out. to
But then
play.
our gunner dropped out.
And we had to refill that.
We had to
role.
refill gunner, but
then
we
had to
lost our
refill
Lewis.
Yep.
all in the last week,
Yeah.
just scrambling
Yeah.
to come together, which was a huge challenge because anything that we'd worked on before that,
Pretty much.
at most we had 3 people in a room.
Yeah.
With Y2K or even with extra toppings, other than the one day where we had all the background, aka Brian's parents and friends, but. We'd never worked with a cast that big before, which
8 people?
I think
Oh,
we
yeah,
realized
for sure.
became a challenge all of its own, and luckily we were able to find people who were down to play, and
I think they did.
really brought something to the
Yeah.
character that maybe we didn't have written down on the page.
which is like
Yeah.
my other favorite of all of them, which was Gunner and Jake. Jake comes in, who literally answered an Instagram ad. Jake's an old high school friend. We just
Yeah.
went to high school. I haven't talked to him since high school, and we put it up on Instagram. We're like, "Hey, anybody want to act in our stuff? Like, we're looking for this dude. It's fantasy football." And he's like, "Fantasy football, movies, acting. I have the time off. I'm down."
yeah,
Boom.
And he just killed
It was awesome. Yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah.
We wanted to embrace the improving and just becoming the character, so we kind of lean into it, and you could say whatever you want, and he came up with some of the best improv
Oh my God,
lines.
he's so funny.
That fire scene, there's a little bit of it in the bloopers. In case you guys haven't seen those, definitely check them out. They're a lot of fun. Where you can see him doing that improving at the fire scene, and I think that's only a fraction of what came out of his mouth during that.
Yeah.
Anyone can be a dad, okay? R. Kelly's a dad, okay?
But I remember coming up to you after that, and I go, "When he's talking, you can't use me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, there's not a usable shot of me reacting to. So Woody Allen was a dad. It didn't matter what came out.
Yeah.
I knew something was coming, but I was never ready for the result.
Never ready.
And it was
Never
like little
ready.
things too, like when I jump up to go search for the phones and I kick over the cup.
Oh, my drink!
And he just goes, "My dream!" Yeah, off camera. I was like, "Oh my god!" I didn't even,
so
in the
good.
moment, I didn't even hear him say that because I was just focusing on what I'm doing,
Yeah.
being a badass, hopping over. And when I saw that, I was just cracking. I was Jake's
So funny.
a genius.
Oh, his
so
drunk
fucking
scene
funny.
around the keg,
Stumbling all over the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
stumbling all over, just throwing shit out about 4chan,
Yeah.
in Facebook.
So I got to shoot that shot from behind you, which
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. On the last couple of days, I had the opportunity to shoot some footage, and that was
Yeah.
one of mine. And I was giggling behind the camera.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's
And then
hard,
you're
yeah.
like, oh my God, they're going to use this. And I'm
Yeah.
shaking the camera like this because
yeah.
this dude's so funny.
I've been wrong about a lot of stuff.
No shit.
I guess 4chan isn't reputable. Fuck all that.
So
You
funny.
got me the first time when I was holding the camera, and you went goo goo gaga. And I started laughing. I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be hard."
Tough. Yeah. Tough.
Well, that's something you guys could probably talk about too, just how hard it was to physically hold the camera, the toll that took on you guys, and your backs, and trying
your
not
bruises.
to laugh.
Oh my God, dude. I had black and blues up my ribs from holding it in my hip and on my arm. I mean, I could easily 16, 17 black and blues.
Yeah. I mean, we had a shoulder rig, but like it was like the minimal stuff, and like we had like the whatever we could get by with, and then we just jammed it into our body as hard as we could, and then tried to keep it steady.
Yeah,
that was kind of the move.
Two camera shoot.
2 camera shoot and it works.
It was just funny to watch you guys sometimes because like just to get your angle, you got the thing all up and your knees are bent at like a full 90-degree angle, and I can watch the muscles in your calves just pop out as you're trying to hold.
You know what I really
spot.
felt that was in the fire scene, and that long scene, and we're like, wow. This is a long scene. I didn't realize how long we wrote this scene to be.
You had a zoom lens because you were shooting across the fire, getting this incredible shot with like the fire glaring in his glasses and stuff like that. And you had this 100 to 400 that like compressed the whole thing, and you full still like a sniper about to take their shot, like not gonna move an inch, just like.
And then Brad would laugh at Jake.
And then, and then you ruined the entire take.
No, I remember turning to Brad. I was like,
"You want free guys? That's what you get."
No, I remember going to Brad and I was like, "This is one of the best shots I've ever taken." And I was like, "This is awesome." It's an
incredible shot, man. It's awesome.
It was really, really fun. But I do want to get back to our cast and the rest of our crew that made it up. Ethan was Dan, another old high school friend, not an actor, just a guidance counselor by day, and a major fantasy football fan in our league.
Play with him in Dynasty. Thank you for Christian McCaffrey.
But we sent Dan the script just as like our fantasy football kind of like reference, and he was like, "This is awesome. I want to see this made. How can we do it?" And we're like, "All right, sweet. You're the killer."
Yeah. No pressure.
No pressure.
No, this whole thing hinges on you, Dan. But come on in.
Yeah,
and
but Dan did great. Dan did awesome.
I really think everyone like across the board killed it.
Yeah,
like really did like an incredible job. Like really found their character. Really put 100% into it. And
punched in their work too.
Yeah, like it didn't feel like anyone was slacking. Oh, punching! Oh, punching!
Oh, he had it coming.
Yeah, he did.
All right, let's give some context. Let's get into it.
Okay,
Nick.
So
why did you have to?
Why did you punch?
All right,
Dan?
so
why'd you punch Dan?
You're gonna come at me. Okay, so
yeah, I'm gonna come at you.
But I'm gonna tell you.
There was a lawsuit I had to deal with.
Just for the viewers, Dan would be here if the restraining order wasn't actively permitting him.
So
from being
yes, here. I punched Dan Bartoszek in the nose by accident.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
No. For real. And so what had happened was, we had done a few takes and I was like, doing the fake punches over and over.
And in the bloopers, he had his eyes closed, so he kept missing. The timing was just awful.
Brian, in between takes, was like, "Nick, come in a little closer."
Oh, no!
And come across a little more. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, okay, yeah. So then that next one I come in, I connected with Dan, and I was just like, immediately I wanted to stop, but I was like, if I stop now, it's gonna ruin the take, so let's just keep going and like use it. And so I kept going, and you could see in the reverse shot when I get to the other side of Dan, the look on my face, I'm just mortified. I'm just so sad because I punched Dan. He's the last person I would want to hit in the face. Like, why couldn't it have been Brad?
This feels like revisionist history, we'll be honest. You can read it in his novel, I didn't do it, but if I did, here's how I would have.
If I had to. If anybody was wondering, of course we used that take. Dan's nose got hurt, so we had to use that one.
He took one.
And honestly, his scream was real, so it sounded the best.
He took it like a champ, and then afterwards,
played through the whole scene.
Yeah, he played through the whole scene. Afterwards, I was like, Dan, I am so freaking sorry. I actually punched you in the face. He was like, you punch like a bitch. It's fine. All right, yeah, okay.
I'm starting to believe him now.
Fair.
Brad, I got a question for you. What's wrong with all the doors in the cabin?
Oh man. Honest to God, I don't know. It's such an old cabin. Like I said, it's off the grid. When it was built, it was a smaller cabin with just like additions thrown on, and the way that it sets, like it gets cold, the cabin shifts, and then doors don't fit right. So
the door wouldn't open.
That
just
one front
random
door,
times.
occasionally, yeah, either that or it's haunted. But who's to say?
Remember when it rained? That's the first day, and it wasn't supposed to rain.
It
It just downpoured out of nowhere. And we're like, all right, fire drill. Everyone bring the gear in. And then
that was scary.
It happened again.
Yeah, this is, I think from where we started doing things with BSP to where we are now, like, as much as this is our most guerrilla shoot, I think, but I definitely think it's the most prepared and, planned and together that we've had it for a shoot. Like, it's something that I'm sure you guys are too, but like, I'm very proud of to see where we started and where we're at.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
for sure. I think that it's just like figuring out the foundation of what works and what doesn't. I don't think in like it really comes down to like where it needs to go and like what you're trying to do with everything.
I think it was a focus on like the basics, the fundamentals of storytelling, and what really what's the minimal way that we can get a story across and have it come across authentic. As much as we'd love to have the budget to have 9 kinos around at any given time, like, it's how necessary is it? What can we get away with? Can we just hang China balls and point 2 cameras? I think and still have it look good, and it turns out yes, you can.
Shooting 2 cameras saved us. I remember when we first showed up, and Brad looks at the pre-production list and goes, "We're supposed to shoot 16 and a half pages on Saturday," and I was like, "Yeah, man, don't worry. Like, we got 2 cameras. We'll bang right through it. Like, we got 2 cameras. Like, it's just like, and we got through. That was It
was 58 pages. We shot in 4 days and a pickup day.
Which is if
that's
you're
crazy.
Like uninitiated a little bit to how filming works. Typically, for every 12-hour day, you get about 3 minutes worth of film. So into 9, we're cramming 16 pages. I mean, the most guerrilla directors I ever worked on a thing for was the Safdie brothers, and like 5 pages was like out of the question still.
Right.
To be able to move that fast efficiently and still get honestly, it's a testament to how prepared you guys were and the way that you guys had it together. Because the day I showed up and I saw we were shooting that many, I was like, "You're fucking joking, dude. That's a pipe dream." But every day.
But it was the like you said, the preparation. Like, we got there ahead and we pre-lit everything.
Yeah.
We put China balls up in the cabin to make it lit, and we didn't have to really light much. We put string lights up and we could play around all that stuff, and like we did everything we could beforehand that we could
move faster than what we needed to do.
And then the other thing is learn every department. Get on set, learn every department, and then you can do literally everything like we did.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Because who was the art department? We dressed that place. Nick brought some props. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
You know what I mean? We ordered shirts. Nick brought some shirts. You brought some shirts.
Who's got bed sheets? Yeah, remember that set. Anybody got twin bed sheets?
That's so true.
And then we went and bought the Pokemon ones.
Yeah. Right after we cleaned all of like the dead animals out of them.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I mean,
it's a hunting cabin.
I assume you all have seen the series at this point. Like, it's just a bare bones hunting cabin. It's a place for people to sleep, drink, and play pool.
Yeah, that's what it was in the script. It was written as a place to sleep and drink.
But we did. I forgot about that. On the top bunk, something had been in there, some animal of some sort.
Well, speaking of learning all the departments, Veno, who was supposed to be our like all hands kind of guy.
All hands swing.
Yeah, every department, just like extra hands helping us everywhere. Well, we lost, due to all the casting changes and everything like that, he was like, "Well, I'll play Weston." So he jumped in to play Weston. At the same time, help us ran audio and like stayed extra late each night to help us like wrap out. And then the extra day, I mean, he just like killed it all the way around, like through everything. Yeah. Everything.
If I ever had my hands full and I turned around, like Veno was there, or he was like always cleaning up something, like he was
100% the best. Yeah, dude.
Hands down.
I loved when him as Weston, like when he was delivering those lines of frustration. He is so good at like being frustrated. Like, where the fucking keys, Gunnar? Doing all that shit.
I'm not fucking around right now, Gio. Where's the fucking money?
Like so good at like getting like tensed up and like delivering that stuff. Like it was so funny to watch. And then like help me get into it, because when he was in my face, when I'm like already down on the ground, like all timid, like I'm just looking for the phones, you guys. And he's all up in my face.
We're not fucking around right now, Gio.
Like then we have that skirmish after I get untied and we're arguing, and it was like he was fun to kind of like go at it with.
Yeah.
Another guy who was just like all in.
All in.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Just sold it.
Yeah,
Great.
the best.
All right, Alex, question for you. Why didn't you double check the ladder? Want to explain and elaborate a little bit on that question?
So, I want to start with I fractured my wrist falling off a ladder on set. All right, that's what we're getting at here. I want to go back to the beginning when I'm packing my car. The one thing that didn't fit was my ladder. The one thing that didn't fit. So I drive 6 hours up. The only ladder we have on set is like this wooden one and like a metal one. We're shooting
Buried
second
in the
to
back
last
of a
scene.
shed.
Yeah.
You know, at least 30 years old.
Yeah. We're shooting second to last scene, I think. I throw the ladder down. I go run up the ladder to go change the light up top, and the metal supports just break, and the ladder comes down, and I fall, and I fracture my wrist, or like some bone in my wrist, and then I was like, that hurts, but I still shot, and I shot through the rest of the two scenes. Next day, my hand was real swollen.
But that night you're just like, yeah, I'm fine, you guys. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Let's get it.
But even the next day,
Ready, take, ready.
even the next day, we still had like a bunch of my early stuff to shoot in the car, you know, because it was, you know, we could send everybody else back and just the three of us could deal with it. So, I mean, just the testament of you not, you know, really being able to persevere through that. Like, what? You went to Walgreens, you got a $3 thing for your wrist, and then here you are, you're rigging, you know, the camera to the front of my car. Yeah. You know,
So
you guys are flying a drone.
Who else is gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was like the funny thing where
hot.
the production, like, this was part of your wardrobe.
Yeah.
My wedding ring was part of his wardrobe, and the one scene where he's supposed to be driving, you know, showing his hand.
This is how I would do it.
I couldn't get the ring off my hand because it was swollen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had to flip everything up. I was like very conscious of the fact where it's like the wedding band hand cannot be in the shot right now. Like, even though, you know, at the end of the day that would have been small potatoes, but it's just funny that we couldn't do that in what would have been the scene that establishes my character. When we had been so good about it. It was that one piece of continuity that the whole time I was like, Alex, I need your ring. I need it.
Yeah, it's so true.
And the one time we would have seen it, no, it's swollen on.
And then I had to edit with a fractured wrist the whole series.
Nice.
Oh man, you're gonna have like
pretty
super
good deal.
carpal tunnel.
Yeah, maybe.
So my next question was for you guys, what from the script to the shoot made it might be different from like the original idea you had in mind, if anything? Like, or what was maybe better on the shooting day that you had envisioned when writing?
Well, first comes to mind is obviously the intro shot. Like, just we wrote like it's a slow pan in through this like crazy part, like through the parking lot where you see all the cars and you see where the keg is, and then you start to, and then the dead body's revealed.
It was like our big movie Warner opener.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to like have
Yeah.
that one epic start where we just do it all at once, and then we got there in the day, and we're like, do we have time to set up the Ronin? No. Okay, do we have time to do this handheld? It looks like shit. Okay, what can we do? And we're like, all right, this is also YouTube. We have to do this as fast as possible.
Gotta capture the audience.
Let's tilt down.
Yeah, let's just do the pan down.
You know, and it honestly worked.
Yeah,
right?
It does. Totally does.
You know?
Yeah.
It
Keep it
achieves
simple.
the same. It achieves the same goal.
Yeah.
Faster.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Any other thing that comes to mind besides?
not too much because we try not to get too tied to the ideas we have when writing, because when you get on set, it just changes. Like when I first wrote it, it was for a different cabin, you know,
Yeah,
and it's like
totally.
those images don't even correlate to the story we made, you know, and it's like why get tied up with the dream of the image that you wrote when production's not gonna go that way,
Right.
you know, it's
yeah.
just like
It's just not gonna look that. Yeah.
it's like two parallel things and they come together and then that's what you're left with. You know what I mean?
It's all sort of like a living organism on its own. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's going to grow, it's going to change, and if you just dig your heels in too deep, you know, you're going to keep yourself from accomplishing things.
Right.
You know what
Like,
I mean?
like I said, we were willing to change characters. You
Yeah.
know, just so we could make this. We wanted to make it so bad that we're like, how can we do this any way possible?
Yeah.
Well, and that's a part of it too. Like, as much as, you know, you were like the writer and the director on this, like this was still very much, it felt like a collaborative effort still.
For everybody.
You know what I mean? Like, it was never like, oh, you know, this is all Alex's thing. It was like, this is our our thing, man. This
Yeah,
is what
it
we're
was
doing.
100% a group project.
And you helped, like, you know, cultivate that sort of attitude on set with that by being flexible with things like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't think I'd say this way. All right. How do you want to say it?
Yeah.
Throw it out there. As long as we're still getting what it is, if it feels natural, it was very helpful just, you know, to... As far as like being directed, like you were always very like generous with that. Of like, you know, let's get a take of it, and we ended up using a lot of those takes.
And like I said, that's where the funniest lines came from.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like when you let them put their spin on your line, and they're like, "Oh, I'm like that's way funnier than I could."
Like, take it easy, Mr. Clean.
Yeah,
and it was like one of the best lines of that episode. Like
so true,
so good.
Yeah. Like when dominated therapy.
Like when Jake's line when Ethan's tied up, he says, "Tell the truth," right? And no, Sophia says, "How did it fall?" Ethan goes, "Gravity." The line written is, "Tell the truth." From Gunnar. He goes, "Gravity isn't real. Tell the truth." What?
Gravity isn't real. Tell the truth.
That's not even some people say.
Yeah, I know.
No,
It's
but
so
you know, for Gunnar, that's it. He was just embodying that character.
But I will say to that point, at the same time, there's a typo in the script in episode 2 where he comes in and he's, "I just thought of something important," and instead of him fixing that one line, he just keeps it in.
I remember so well.
Guys, I remember something important last night, okay?
Yeah. I just remembered important.
I remember important.
And as far as embodying characters too, like Nick, like you did a fantastic job, like really getting inside of, you know, Gio. I don't know if it's because you're also a degenerate gambler,
Smidgen.
Or just a smidgen. Like that's one of the fun things about like acting a little bit, though, right?
Yeah.
Is like, you know, trying to find how do you bring yourself into a situation that you would never have. Like, can you speak to that like a little bit? Like, what was the process?
Yeah, for
there?
Giovanni, I just envisioned like, oh yeah, he's this slick Italian, you know, a lot of jewelry. He's like got the tight polo on, you know, he's like a little full of himself. He yells a lot, and that was fun to do. You know, I loved to yell.
Whoa! Untie me! What is this shit? Come on!
And scream my head off during a lot of these parts, like where he's like in the chair getting tortured. I had to like put myself in that headspace and like.
Piper, I just searched this whole cabin for the phones. I don't know where the phones are. I don't know where the money is, and I don't know who killed Dawson.
Try to figure out like how would this guy react here. It's just you just scream your head off. Just yell everything.
Welcome to the club.
Do you have a headcanon for Giovanni that like doesn't come across in anything that like you would just like just for yourself?
Question. Not really. I mean, we had talked a little bit about like his backstory and like how he got arrested because we mentioned the armed robbery and what it's for. So we like thought up a little bit of backstory for that. Like he had recurred some gambling debt and that like that's why he, you know, robbed a gas station and got arrested.
In a very poor manner. Like he did it in a bad way. Like not like in a criminal way. Like
he botched it.
Yeah, he botched.
It was like no effort put in. Like he really, like he didn't. He's just like, no, I'm just doing this.
Like one of the little things I would like to come up for him, like the scratch off thing. Yeah, that was one of the key things I wanted to include to like get his character across. Like he's always got some scheme.
That was
in his
one of the
mind
funniest
where he's like
things.
trying to get something over on someone. Like he had the scratch off so that made it the buy-in, so he was good. Like not even thinking of the inconvenience that is to you.
Yeah, big bills are fine. I remember you improv.
He's a very like he's the guy that's like sell me this pen. Like from he's the guy that sells you the pen.
Yeah. Poorly though.
Poorly.
He doesn't.
Somehow, maybe you buy the pen, probably don't. But
no, while you're looking at the pen, he lifts $30 out of your wallet.
Brian, I want to ask you, what did you learn from making Fantasy Football Murder Mystery Party?
you can do anything.
Imagination.
Oh man, that's a good question.
I mean, that is kind of like you can do anything. Like we just like wanted to make this.
Yeah.
And it's we have a production company together, but it's like, why would we go and make this thing?
Yeah, I think it's like the biggest thing. Honestly, the biggest thing I learned from this was like pre-production can make production a lot easier, and when you're down a certain amount of hands, when you're down and you're the underdog in a fight, like your preparation and your pre-production can help you overcome that like shooting 16 pages with 2 cameras in a single day because we knew exactly what each shot was going to look like. We knew exactly where we were going to be in the cabin, like pre-production, like just doing that for every single production that we do forward. I mean, that was a major lag. Like you mentioned extra toppings earlier and like we bit off too much that we could chew. No. We just horrible pre-pro.
Yeah.
Like this is like the first time that we like broke it down, took weeks and like focused on every scene and like how we were gonna, you know, build it, how the day was gonna run, the workflow that was gonna be in, like the, you know, the situations that we were putting the rest of the crew and the cast in. Like those are things that we talked about. And like I think the biggest thing from this is like if you put in the work beforehand, production does get a lot easier because things like you mentioned don't go the way you expect them to go. And if you think about like if you talk about it beforehand, your pivots are a lot easier.
Yeah.
Your pivots are a lot easier.
Yeah.
So
that's the one thing I've learned a lot from like directing is just like it's mainly your job is just to communicate your idea.
100%, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
And like I really needed to just basically get me and you on the same page. So then like we walked in, we're basically walking the same stride.
Right.
You know, and like anybody could ask us either question and we know exactly
what
the shot's going to be, how many shots we plan on for that scene, like how we can make that scene faster, how we can, you know what I mean? Like we pre-pro'd the shit out of this one where we knew every single
thing, like actually like the back of my hand. Like I know
like
it's such a funny
I'm telling
thing
you,
to
like
say,
we
but
planned the lighting. Like we planned the lighting for this shoot so that we knew
exactly where the lights were going to be for each scene, so that once
we could
we
move
turned
so
around,
fast.
so we could turn around and flip it exactly where it was going to be. So it definitely was the biggest thing I learned was just do this pre-pro. Just leave yourself weeks beforehand, like. You know, don't run up like you may think you have time, but you don't have time. Like just do it. So it's better to be ready and sitting around than to be running up until last minute. So just pre-pro everything.
Well, the hardest part is nobody wants to do the pre-pro and the writing work. And,
I know, yeah.
That's not the fun part. The
No,
fun
it's
part's
not.
the production.
No, it's horrible,
You know, the
dude.
making the movie part is fun, but when you have to think about it and then when you to go through the thought experience of like what's going to fail.
I mean, how many late nights you and I sat up together just going over each scene? Okay, all right, cool, that was episode 1. All right, we'll go to episode 2. Okay, you sure you don't want to just redo episode 1 just because maybe we forgot something? Like, and we'll just do episode 2 tomorrow? It's like, all right, let's do it. Like, back to episode 1. It's just pre-pro.
Oh, absolutely. It's important. And like you guys were saying, as much as you prepare, you're never going to be ready for what happens on the day necessarily. It's always, you do have to be, you know, like, that's what is helpful about having, you know, the improv thing be so open on set and the ability to do it is, I think, in a way, that also really loosens you up to improvising just life. And what's happening, you know, it's like all day long everybody is improvising no matter what, no matter how good of a plan is written on the page, it comes out different in the end. And
for sure,
oftentimes
that's a great
for
point,
the better.
Brad.
Yeah,
that's some life lesson stuff right there, dude. Take that. All right, clip that YouTube short.
No, I mean Brian said the word like so many times, but it's almost like our tagline that we don't really say that often is pivot. Like we never hit a wall, we never change plans, we pivot. We still use our plan, we're just going to do a slightly different thing.
Yep. We usually have already thought about that. Like, because it's like, you know, experience. I mean, that's like when you're, we were 25, 26 when we shot Extra Toppings. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. And it's like, okay, there's a lot of experience you learn over 4 or 5 years of just like production and jobs that you'd be on. Just a lot of experience. And that's what helps.
What part of the production matters? You know what I mean? Like, we put focus on our past projects on the flashy stuff, the gear, the expensive things, like the car chase. You know what I mean? We wanted to make a Hollywood movie because, I mean, at that time I was working on Happy. I was, like, in the midst of working Union Electric on set, like, cool stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do that for my short film. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but that's the dream, right? Like, that's what you want. Like, that's the dream. That is the dream. Like,
guess
what we
what?
tried.
It's super bloated. It's super bloated, and it's slow, and it's expensive, and there's a lot of cheaper, better ways to do things.
For sure. There's a better, like, I hate to sound businessy when you say it, but there's a better ROI when you spend, like, on how much time, money, other people, like, you know, other people's time, you know, when asking people to help you, when paying them, there's a better way to do all of that than the Hollywood.
Well, I mean, build small. You know what I mean? Like it's you don't like ride a helicopter to the top of Mount Everest and walk down. You know what I mean? Like you start at the bottom and like eventually, if you've got the money. But this is why we're walking. We don't.
I guess the benefit of making our own content is like we get to reference and joke about all the stuff that we do. Like I love the seatbelt thing was from my bachelor party. Like I love that. You know what I mean?
It was. That's one of the fun things in that process, and working with your friends, like you have a history with, who you've been through a lot with. Like that was just an inside joke. It started. I mean, Brian and I were very messed up. And I was like, "Do you want another one?" And he just goes, and from there on out, anytime things get like a little hairy or whatever, I just if I could make eye contact with Brian from across the room and buckle the seatbelt, if either of us were to do that, it was guaranteed to have us in stitches. So to find an avenue for like just something like that brings us so much joy. Yeah. That starts out like as just a little joke, but like I like the implication that it ended up with. It became something very sinister in the end as these people spiral into literal like Abu Ghraib of tactics. So
I remember in the writer's room, I was like, we were writing the draft, and I was like, asking you guys, like, is there ever a time where like you guys get pissed during the draft process, like where you're like, is someone cheating, and that's where the collusion thing came from. Andrew comes over, collusion, and I was like, that's what I like wanted to look for. Like that was like really important to
me and Brian have been
building that
roommates for a while, so we would do trades and like play fans together, and then everyone would say collusion at us, and then we'd be saying collusion all the time, and they're just yelling at each other.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when we all live together, like I don't know, football's the one with the hockey pucks, right? No, that's hockey. I don't know a lot about football, despite being the commissioner. I know next to nothing, and when we lived together during football season was just the most miserable time of the year for me because they're just screaming at each other and they might as well be speaking Greek. Brian, you give Brian 2 beers and collusion becomes his favorite word.
One of my favorite references is WESTON has won the first year and never again. Brian has won the first year when nobody knew how to play and never again.
He's feeling good this year, though.
Ask me in 2023. I'm looking at you.
I don't know what he's talking about. He did 20 minutes on how good his team's doing the minute I walked in the door.
So who do we think has the best fantasy team?
How did we draft it?
Who has CD Lamb?
Put yours in, and then just like kind of like wait. Yeah, go ahead.
And then be really disappointed because I picked CD Lamb.
That's Lewis.
No, I told you.
Why would I draft CD Lamb?
I don't know.
I like Gunnar's team, even though he drafted Odell in the 4th round. He may be coming back.
That's my favorite thing about that is like Gunnar gets so much shit. He might have one of the best teams according to you guys in Mario, and. My other favorite thing that I don't know if it's like picked up on a lot, in a weird way, Gunnar's the one who resolves, like who figures it out.
But when he finally gets his drink of alcohol, he has a spark of genius.
He's the pushing force behind everything.
I actually like Gio's team too. Cooper Kupp, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones.
Gio's good team. Sophia's got a decent team with Josh Allen. You know, I mean, he puts up 40 points sometimes. So
we did get some flack in the comments for only having an 8-man league. You know, it's kind of what are you gonna do?
All right, we'll double it. We'll do 16 characters next time, and you know, stick around. Maybe there'll be a season 2. Maybe there won't.
Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching, listening, anything. Please like, subscribe, comment. All of those, whatever helps the algorithm, we really, really appreciate it. We'll be making these mini-series whether you like it or not.
That is a threat.
So just do the algorithm stuff, and we'd appreciate it.
It would help us out a lot.
Guys, please.
And if you want a hat, they're really great. Blackstormproductions.com/merch. It's the only thing we have. And with that, until next time.
Au revoir.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
What do I do? All right, Ricky Bobby. All right, cool.